In today's Reuters Breaking Views, we ask whether the falling value of goodwill means corporate boards will think harder about sanctioning takeover deals in the future. With me is Assistant Editor Robert Cole. It's an interesting piece, this one, Robert. If somewhat complicated, I think. I mean, the concept of goodwill. But let me just get this right. So a bunch of goodwill is created for acquisitions.
On acquisitions.
On acquisitions, and a lot of this is written off.
Yeah.
And the goodwill impairment, according to the latest figures, which I should say are for 2011, is rising.
Yeah, well, it's risen a lot. So goodwill is created in many different ways, but a lot of it is created at acquisition. Is basically the difference between the assets that are acquired when they're bought and the price paid. And, you know, we all talk about premiums for control and for, you know, the brand values and so on. And that's quantified at the time of acquisition. Over time, though, boards can revisit that valuation of these intangible assets and write them down. Or they could write them up if they liked. And what this research, and thanks to Houlihan Lokey for pointing it out to us, is that in 2011, that impairment charge across European companies, the 600 DJ stock 600 companies, rose 5 times.
Okay, so that's the fact.
That's the fact.
Our job is to interpret that.
Yeah.
And what does this tell you? What does this tell you about the mentality of the board?
Well, I think it firstly suggests that, very strongly suggests that companies have overpaid for past acquisitions. Well, maybe we knew that already. But what this really big spike in these impairment charges shows is that boards are really waking up to it right now. They are getting real. Now, there are various different reasons as to why they're doing that. Maybe they're just sort of catching up, you know, smelling the bacon. Maybe they're recognising that the European economic climate is really cold and is going to stay cold for a long time. Maybe they're also clearing the decks. Maybe they're trying to say, well, let's get rid of all the mess created from a whole bunch of acquisitions that we did in 2007, 2008 and before, so that we can, you know, start again, go on another shopping spree. But it might be it might be something else entirely, and that is that you know that people are trying to get real and move forward.
Now, I mentioned this is 2011 data. It could look entirely different this year, couldn't it?
It could do. But I think that there's
so the boards could have finally woken up to the cold economic climate. They could have finally got tougher at the end of last year, and that turnaround might already have happened.
It may well have done, but you know we can only use the data that we have. And I think another very interesting part of this data is that the way the market values of these companies seems to be below those of the accounting values as well, and that seems to suggest that the market thinks, if the market is worth listening to, that further impairment charges could come through. Further recognition of mistakes made in the past could come through. Yeah, the point I really want to stress, though, is that you know, with any luck, this data suggests that boards will be much more careful about sanctioning deals in future, and that they will recognise that you know good deals have to be done at the right price, and that it is too easy to persuade themselves and their shareholders what they want to believe, not what is actual fact.
OK, Robert, many thanks for that. Robert Cole, there is more Breaking Views in our US edition every day, 12:30 Eastern, 17:30 BST. I'm Axel Threlfall. This is Reuters.